Asi tauya kuzotaura nevarume. So tauya patichange tichitaura nyaya yedu yevarume, uchaona kuti inobata munhu wese. Hazvina mhosva kuti unonamata chechi ipi, asi nyaya yedu, nyaya ndiye murume. So ndichapa mukana kuna mufundisi Mukome. He's going to address us. Mukoma choga varipo vanenge vachizopindira pakati pane mibvunzo yatinenge tinayo, because we want it to be very interactive. From now up to 2 tetitaura nyaya dzeidzodzidzi. You will discover kuti 2 dzachona idzodzo zvine zvisati zvatopera. But a lot of questions aminadzo, but why am I here? Ndauya uzoitei. Ndatosaka ndichita zvakadai. You will discover kuti panapo ndo pane yes. So let me call my friend Jethro.
I see the makeup of the family that you came from. Amen. Amen. So I want to start by talking about who this guy is. This guy that you talk about. This guy who's standing here, who's just like you guys, the man. You know, as we started this program, I was focusing more on marriage. This is where this book came from. It was endorsed by big names that I see here, including Dr. Nigel Chanakira, Maichi Samba, Bishop Nyawatiwa, Father Muguti, Bishop Base from America, Bishop Mwinga from Zambia, Bishop Mtendi is there, Dr. Teach is there. So there are quite a number of people who endorse this book, because when they read this book, this is a manual that every married person must have. So as I was focusing on marriage, I felt God redirecting in a certain direction. Like I did, if you continue focusing on marriage, you know, you're not going to get the desired results. So he said you need to focus on the head. The head controls everything. But I know Ziapa Mashura, pane BP yakabweta challenge, pane pipe yakabwesta, you know, under sea, and it polluted the sea. In my thinking, I thought they were going to deal with the engineer, kana vashandi vakaita kuti, you know, pipe best. But they didn't do that. They went for the CEO. The CEO is the one who was fired. And I asked myself this question, but the CEO was in his office. He made sure that the engineer was there and so forth. That's when I realized that an institution is as good as its leader. You know, if things are going to move, then we need to deal with the head. Especially black mamba. This was how the black mamba is dangerous. Hakuna anopedza ngwachita kunorowa muswe, because I said rowa muswe still musoro ripo, yeah, you know, they're still doing damage. Saka anoziya vese vanonanga musoro. Saka mchona kunyanga nakaona nyoka iri apa musoro uruko vanhu vakasaziya kuti where is the head or where is the tail. Isi vanhu vanotambudzika because hakuna ari kuziya kuti kune musoro ndekupi. Vanhu vakaziya kuti musoro urikupi, people focus on the head, because it is the head that directs everything else. So when the head begins to fail, things go wrong. That's not the issue at the medical field where we are talking about mental health. A lot of people are having issues in mental health. Do not understand vari kupenga, ivo vari kufamba zvavo. But panopengerwa nechinopengerwa ndozvinoita sei, ndozvinosiyana. You see, but vazhinji vari kuita sei, vari kupenga. And the counselor, there are a lot of people who come to me, vogara pamberi pangu, takutaura noti ishasha rinotopenga kai. Iye haisi kuziva kuti kuita sei kutopenga. But tine manje ndatasana kuti idzi dzikutopenga. Munoziva munhu akagara muzumbure uku akasaziva kuti muzumbure uku abude. Anofunga kuti ari mumba. Makambona munhu anopenga taura kuti iwe unopenga, dzidzo dzikuita sei dziri kupenga. So a lot of people right now vari kutopenga. Kunyange nemi makanditarisa ona kuri sei ona kuri. Unoona kuti sei ona motopenga, but hausiziva. Munozandisaka diagnosis yakakosha. Ina me diagnosis book in the medical field. That's what I do. This is diagnosis. Unoziva munhu aona kutopinda anozora rishi ari bobo ari kuzona. Azwa kuti utano rishi uripo. Totaka ngatiti matest toita matest. Muri kurwara. Hamsi mutano. Kunobva pamunhu akutobuda rishi ati una. But dzapinda so dziripo. Saka kutaura kuti vazhinji vari kuita sei. Vatori madhunyasi. ndakazona kuti ukagarisa murume nemukadzi ukabvunza nyaya ndopaona kuti vanarira sei ukanzwa mai autaura achiti apa bamuzive zvautaura ndozvoti zirira sei dzopota zichitachana dzozatotacha ndiri mwena Susan, ndakuudza kutofaziya zvekutaura pamberi zatotacha because kuna neproblem asina kubatsirwa it means zera sei zatotacha. So mwana wachibva kutaura kuti if you don't deal with the head you're wasting your time. Ukasvika pakambani ukaona anoti gatare pamusha, ukasvika pamusha muzari kune misha yekuti ukasvika so mukaisirwa sadza nenyama unotozwa baba vacho ari pamberi kutaura kuti motikurumidza kudya makabata ndiro nekutaura panapa unongonhunga nyama. Unozopatoita problem nekuti nababa vacho toziva kuti vana vavo vaunongotora nyama yenzi ina problem namai watotasa yani ndibaba ndozopapa paita problem. Saka watodhila nehasi mai hasi vana tinodhila nemusoro.
Yes.
Saka takanyepera wadambofamba nembijanda takanyepera vanakachinyepera vakati vachiti munhu akabva kugudo and so on haija chuma chakazofa rivhesa zvinhu zvezvezvo but satana angobatira pane zvehaasida kuti zvirivhesa but vazhinji vacho akazoti we made a mistake munhu anabva kugudo but pakati pepatonanhu achimhai nyaya yekuti munhu akabva kugudo vamwe darumhainoti hanzi takabva kumvura we migrated from the water from the sea and so forth. Vamwe anoti the explosion theory yekuti zvakangoita sei zvakangodhuka. And I asked this question in the explosion, how did the ear get to it is and how did the nose get they can't explain. They are also confused. Saka ndati kupenga it depends kuti ukupengera papi uzokupengerei but vazhinji vari kuita sei vari kupenga. Once munhu anotara achiti munhu akabva kugudo ari kuita sei ari kutopenga. But you see, I have come now to tell you the truth of what happened. So kuramba anotara achiti God said at some point, he said let us create men. Munhu aitaurwa nezvake ndiwe nentakamira panapa. Zvanzi ngatisike munhu tomusika nemufananidzo wedu. Katasika nemufananidzo wedu tomupa authority yakachataurwa navajacha panapa. Zvikatopa authority ofanana nesu. If there's a creature that shares the same office with God as a man, ndikutaura Emil, you and me, we share the same office with God. Do you know that it is only men who helps God in creation? Mukazi akonobatsira Mwari pakusika. Murume ndianogona kubatsira Mwari pakusika nekuti akatakura mbeu. You know why the enemy goes after the man. Ndinoziva kuti anoita zvekurima kana anoita zvemombe mafama zanoita zvemombe vana misinda vananda zvato anoita zvemombe vanokutaurira kuti chatinotsvaga isusu tinotsvaga bhuru ratotsvaga bhuru rine mhando. But do you know kuti hadzi hadzina basa inoita zvegoti breeding. Ukaona tichitsvaga rume tinotsvaga bhuwa meho yakakura hadzi tointurutwa mahadi mashona type hatuna basa itoto. Munoziva kuti bhuru kuri haya vanoziva kuti bhuru inoita mari kuhaya. Ndakadza mashona type hadzi unogona kubhatira $800 per week for what? For the pure breed yebhuru. Ko hadzi hadzina basa here? Aiwa hadzi hadzina basa ratso chakakosha iseed. Chakatakura seed ndo chakaita seed ndo chakakosha. Saka mchona wanesi kana vada kukanganisa ruzi vanoonanga seed. My God, Mwari kandibatsire pane kwanda kutakuenda. Saka mchona vanopedza mari vatsvaga bhuru. Ndakaona tumbwa tuiti mahard mashona type. Kuna vanhu vanokachida a certain breed. Unoona tu hard mashona type tuchidzingwa ofata akado here ka hard mashona type. Kanoda but karume kacho kanogara ita sei kachidzingwa bozwa hasi kuda rudzimwe.
Oh yes.
Kaza akakutangaiswa muta akasikuda here kunikagweta urudzi. Hapana nokada nekuti twana tinobuda ipapo panobuda tumakonzo. Saka munhu anotsvaga unozonzi kutsvaga bhuwa. Munoziva zvimabhuwa zera zvimba zvakadai so zviya. Unozwa munhu ndikutsvaga vana vakafanana nababa. My God. Samuchona nguva dzese kunyange hurumende iri pabasa rekutsvaga seed inopa gohwo rakaita sei rakakura. Iri tiri mudrought vanhu basa rekutsvaga seed iri resistant what to drought inokurumidza kubereka. magavhmendi akupedza mari zhinji kutsvaga mbeu yakaita se inoshanda uyezve mbeu inopa gohwo rakakura kuti vagona kufidza vanhu avo. Isidhi ndiyo ine basa. Saka anotakura sidhi ndiani? Akatakura sidhi murume. Yakanditarisa iwewe ndira kuti uzive kuti wakatakura rudzi. Ndachizonataratadzi ndinoziva kusvika pa5th generation. Vazhinji hatitozivi, and I want you to know the danger dzekusaziva genealogy. Soko raMwari rinotoallocata a certain portion just talking about genealogy kuti nhingi bvabereka nhingi. Hapana kana mukadzi aripo, hapana muziningi havasi kunaona mama. Vabirana baba. Mama unoona report yonzi good John, because mama arege kuti good John ka. Wazisa ngoti good John. But anomira report achimira shasha kuti igouya kubva kubasa. Ichisvika shasha unoona mwana amhanya report kuti date tasamoni. Ukangoti good unoona mwana ari problem. That's good na date. Omanya kushamwari dzeki date wanditi good. But ukangotasa kuside utaura kuti useless. Do you know what that does to a child? There are people here who are destroyed by words Zanaba. Baba kakumbuka bwataura mazi chafamba nemubati nyandi kutaura nezve. Baba kakumbuka bwataura mazi pamusoro pa. Wati ichi chakafanana mai. Kanza una chaunoita muupenyu. Ukabvadzo waita se wakapusa. Nyaya kubudirira isi musimba redu. Iri muna watakabva mari.
Yes.
This is deep.
I'm going to touch on that a bit. Then the Bible tells us now that God brought all the kinds of animals for the men to what? To begin to create names for them. And God said, I've done my part, I created you, and I gave you a name. Your name is what? Is Adam. You take after me. You report to me. I am your boss. I am your boss. So Adam did not report it to anyone. Adam reported only to God. And remember when he was in the garden, he was what? He was alone. The Bible does not say that Adam was lonely. The Bible says, and then Adam was alone, not lonely.
Yeah.
But he was doing what? Alone, and yet no issues, yet no problems. This is why you realize that most men spend their time in their minds.
Very true.
So this is why you are having challenges with your women. Do you know the biggest challenge that man is having with women in Protestant? The problem that most men are having with women is a woman who's trying to understand the man, a woman who's trying to get into the mind of a man, a woman who's trying to understand the plans of a man, and yet the man in the garden was alone and he was doing his own things. He never consulted anyone when he was giving names to the animals. He never. Right. Now I've got to men. Do you know a man can actually live alone? Do you know a man at times he wants time alone?
Yeah.
I want time alone. I want to be alone. I want to process things. Because men process things and they spend time in their minds. And Eve comes and Eve says, I want to know what you're thinking about. Right. What are you thinking about? Tell me what you're thinking about. You see, now the man says, I want space. This is why you realize that at times men just walk out of the home and they go, not that they have any girlfriends, they just go into the park just to sit down and do nothing and be in their mind. This is why most of you are looking at me like this, as if I have fallen from Mars, because you know what, you are busy processing things in your mind. Men are thinkers. Because God gave men the ability to think, and He gave them the duty to think. When He said, name these animals, He started thinking. He saw a giraffe and He said, this one has got a long neck, so I've got to call it what? I've got to call it Furamdenga, a giraffe. Then He saw an elephant, then He saw whatever. He was thinking what? In his mind. And Eve was not there, but Eve was already inside him. He was getting it. Because remember what God had said. He had already created them.
Yeah.
And he and what? He and she, male and female. So Eve was already in the man. When he was going to Ambura, Eve was inside. When he was walking around giving names, Eve was inside. But Eve, my God, but Eve was what? Eve was quiet. This is why men always want a woman who's quiet. You know most men actually run away from home. You know why? Because the wife is what? Is talkative. When she begins to talk, she cannot shut her mouth. So the problem with men is, men are physical. They belong to a certain world, which is a physical one. This is why when they see things, they are affected. This is why when you see a woman, a woman's leg, you get what? You get affected. You know why? Because men are physical. But women are what? Are emotional. So when these two worlds meet, you know what happens? You always go to what? To your strength. And in order to quieten or silence the woman, what do men do? You slap the woman. Which is a criminal offense by the way. That's where GBV is coming from. But GBV has got evidence. Because wife goes to the police, he says, but do you know that a lot of men are suffering emotional abuse? A lot of men who are sitting here, they are suffering emotional abuse and they have nowhere to run. Panisha shakaenda ku police kunotaura kuti yanga yarwa nemukadzi baina muntu azi ndaya unoripota case hey baba kazi ndarwa namai. Do you know kuti murume anga ari perception yakatanga kuseka badaidza makazi kadzi uya munzwe zviri kuno baba anonzi vaita se baba varwa nemukadzi vakadzi vachisvika vanhu vakabata kudubu nekuseka kuti baba varwa nemukadzi. This is the disadvantage that men is having. But I am saying what men want is they want peace and they want that quiet time. So the reason why you are fighting at times and why your wife does not understand you, it is because a man is always in his mind. That's where the problem is. You want to stay in your mind because God gave you a duty to think. You are thinkers. And the Bible tells me that apedza izvozvo akanga ari ega, and God, it is God. God is the one who said the man is alone, not lonely. Adam was not lonely. He was what? He was alone, and God said, let us give him a helper. The man never said he wanted a helper. It is God who said this man is what? Is alone. There's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Let canceling. Vakadzi vanoita mufundisi baba kwangu hatauri. And zimwalozona varonga zvinhu. Do you know there are men who just buy things? Tuna motera yato yapanzi. Ukasanga yototaura. Sorry, ndakangana. I bought that car. And the woman is an issue with you. Men have to adjust. You have to adjust. You have no choice but what? To adjust, even if it is difficult. Because your nature is that you plan things in what? In your mind. And you deal with what? With issues in your mind. This is why men die of sickness and diseases that are never diagnosed. Most men are actually sick. Because this person, he died blood pressure, but he never went for diagnosis. A man who only go to hospitals or acha no farm. This is why you realize that it is not easy for a man to ask for $1 from another man. Amen. There's no man who comes and says, Rasho man, we for counseling. No, I'll deal with my problems. Don't worry. I'll deal. I want to pick up my bag. Don't worry, I'll deal with it. Until the wife goes away. And the guy see what? He's still dealing with it. The problem comes from that a man has always been alone. And the problem is he wants to deal with these things alone. Most of us here, do you know what you mean? There's a guy who visited me. He had walked from town. But when I looked at his shoes now, that's when I saw his shoes were dusty. And I said, and he said, why are your shoes like this? I said, I walked from town. Could you why? You hear him say, no, I wanted to exercise. I don't know how. Then I actually realized that it is not a plan. Most men, this is why men suffer. My pastor, not suffer. Do you know it is not easy for a man to go and borrow ideas from another man? You would rather suffer. Their children are failing to go to school because of a father who believes that he cannot ask another man. This is why you realize that it's not easy to gather men together. We were at St. Thomas Prison where we had 700 men. After talking to them the way I'm talking to you like this, 400 of them gave their lives to Christ. When I went back about 3 weeks back, the rest of them said, we want Christ. Because we're getting these things all wrong. They went there in the prison. You know what? Because everyone wants to be big and everyone wants to show that they're in control of the situation. But most men have actually lost it. We had Bindura. In Bindura, another men's gathering. And there was this guy. And this guy had come to me with his issues, his bedroom issues. So I tried to help him. So we had a campfire the evening. And people started talking about what? People started talking about bedroom issues. And you know who was in front? The guy was saying, you know what you do? You know, and I looked at him and I said, oh my God, this is the typical nature of men.
Yeah.
They lie to each other. You know, men can actually borrow a car to go and impress other men or to go and show that he has things under control.
Yeah.
The reason why men is suffering it is because they simply don't want to go to the next man and tell him that, you know, look, I've lost it. We've got women right now who are living in hell because of a man who thinks he knows it all, who thinks he does not need help, who thinks he does not need anyone in his life. Have you seen men say, look, I don't care about you and you can keep your stuff, don't worry. But he goes home, there's nothing there. Crying is a weakness that must never be experienced. Mambo na unumafirwa na mai. What nimacha muziko. Nze mchembera enda matoza sasa itakayo. Fana msuzi kana. Atisi ya mchembera anga atambuzika. Ndanenza hapana kasadza. But pane vakanzi vari kuchipatara munangoro warisa kuti akatochema watochema imomo pane mwana akazodzorwa anzi kozvama kuchema kunge munhu achafa iye akabva azongofa apedza kuchema. They look at you, they see death and they start crying. But when men look at you, they see death, they say, no, you're going to be okay. Don't cry, you're going to be okay. This is why men don't cry. But this is why men is having issues. This is why things have gone the other way. So this man is alone. And he's alone in his what? In his mind. He's busy thinking issues to himself. And the woman comes. It is God who brought this woman. And when the woman comes, at first, Murumaka Farah, he was so happy and so impressed by what God had done. Because this woman came out of him. God said, this man is alone. And the Bible tells us, then Eve from inside the man. This is why you realize, God, anything that comes from you, anything that comes out of you, should bow down to you. Not the other way around. This is why children who come out of you have to bow down to you. Not the other way around. Yeah. But I've seen today children who want their fathers to bow down. The job that you have and the money that you have is not yours. The life that you have. This is why the Bible says by our commandments, honor your father and your mother. You know what? Because you came out of them, not the other way around. No matter how successful you are in life, I want you to know that you bow down to your father. Not the other way around. And the woman came out of the man. And it will never happen that a man will bow down to a woman. There's a guy who came for cancer. They all have great jobs. And they had issues in their home. And you know what the guy said in front of me? He was not talking to the woman. Because the woman was also answering me. And he said, listen to me. I will never bow down to you. There's no man who bow down to a woman. If I see a man bowing down to a woman, then I know there's a problem somewhere. Yeah. Because the woman came out of the man, and the sustenance is what is on the man. It is a man who gave a life. So whatever gives you life, you depend on it, and you bow to it. So the woman came out of the man, And the woman has to bow down to what? To the man. But listen to where the problem came in. And then Eve was now presented to Adam. And God said, here is someone that came out of you. And God distanced himself from the woman. He said, I have nothing to do with this woman because she came out of you. You report to me, and she reports to oh
yeah.
I am your boss. I am your boss. Because I told you what to do. God said, I've created you, I'm giving you the rules of the garden. This you do, this you don't. These are your limits, these are your boundaries. And God said, I'm done. And the Bible tells us every day God would come down to discuss with the man. As she told us, because you are a God in this world, as I'm God in what? In my world. You are the God of this world, so you must make sure that whatever you do it correctly. I'm not going to interfere or intervene.
Yeah.
I bet a lot of people cry. We are in a car. When you buy, a toy for your child, and the child goes on and he begins to crush the toy with a stone, do you take that toy away from the child? No. You know why? Because you gave the toy as a present. So what you only tell the child is, if you destroy this one, I'm not going to buy you another one. So God said to Adam, this is your toy. Be God here as I'm God.
Oh yes.
So if you destroy your toy, don't come to me crying. So God is actually surprised when men are calling him into this world. My God. He's actually saying, what do you want me to do? I gave you, and I gave you the principles and the rules of how to manage this world of yours. I am a God somewhere, you are the God in this world. This is why even today, go to national parks if you think I'm lying. Somehow, I don't know what happens. When a lion is a man, somehow they find it. Among others, they'll tell you, that's the one. When an elephant kills a man, they go for it. They'll tell you, that's the one. When a crocodile is a man, they'll find it. When a hippo kills a man, they'll find it. And they'll tell you, that's the one. Why? Because it would have killed the God.
Oh yes.
Man is a God. Because man is a God.
Yes.
Man never dies. You are looking at me today, you are not going to die. Because the spirit that God gave in you, that put in you, that's God that is inside you. God put his part of him into you. This is why man does not die. But what does it? patongana mapurisa kuti ari kupi knowledge tinotora kumsunga kuti but mwana wangu ndakachiri mudiki akati just 2 weeks old ndewangu. No, you killed their God. So I see these gods walk like, and God said to Adam, I gave you rules of how to live in this world of yours. I'm not going to intervene or interfere. I'm trying to answer somebody. Why is it that God is not quick to come? My God, why is it that God is not quick to come into our situation? Do you know what it is? Very confused. People are busy asking, but God, why? If you look at it closely, you realize that it is men who cause these things to happen.
Yeah, sure.
So the coming of God into your situation is by grace. It's not a mercy that God should come. It's by what? It's by grace. You know what? Because you messed up your kingdom. And when God gave Eve to Adam, God said, I have nothing to do with this one because this one came out of you. You came out of me, but this one came out of you. The mistake that most of you are making, you know what the mistake is? The mistake that Adam made is when he saw Eve, he became confused and he thought that they were at par. But do you know that God never spoke to Eve? God never had a conversation with Eve. God used to come down and speak to what? To the man. And then God said unto Adam, this one is what? Is yours. As I am a master to you, be a master to her. You know what Adam did? You are so excited and you forgot that this one came out of him. It's like a father who has got his child and he forgets that this child needs guidance because the child came out of him. We are having today parents who think that children can actually run their own lives. We've got parents today who do not even look after their children because they believe that children are responsible enough to look after themselves. So God was busy watching. And you know what Adam did? God said, give a name. So this one. Yes. Most of you, when you get married, the problem that you have is you never sit down with your wife and you draw boundaries. You know what Adam said to me? He said, you know what God told me? God said, don't eat. It's God who said it to you, not it's God who said it to you, not to her. And she was not there when you were told. Just say all the time relate information. You can never stand in relate information. This is why the enemy took advantage. Because this guy was saying, God did not say to Eve, God said to Adam, not to Eve. Mitema yakapiwa inakupiwa kuna Eve, yakapiwa kuna Adam. But God was expecting Adam to do something. God was expecting Adam to sit Eve down and say to Eve, this garden that I've been given, my world that I've been given, this is how we are going to live in the garden. He wasn't supposed to say, and God said. He was supposed to say, I say, this should not be done. That should not be done. But I've seen guys who went, and there's not even a single day that they sit down their wives to drink the rules. Up to date. Kune arume vasagara pasina zina yavo kuti vamaboundaries emusha kutaura kuti mai John muri kuona mauyaka maimbonzi maichimute nezvakunzi mai mangu saka pakunzi mai mangu apa it means kuti zvaita sei zvachinja. You have come into my world now. Saka world yekwamango inoshanda ichida. But most of you are not very democratic. That's your problem. This God that you worship is not a democratic God. He's an autocratic God. So I tell us to pick his way. Imakagara para makapa mitemenyu ipi kumazimenyu. Muzimenyu wanozi nezvenyika yako iwe. She does not know who you are. When you are angry. So yeah, the problem is you don't know me. How do you see? No problem. You don't know me. Sure, she does not know you. But Paul authority, you can authority I could declare could have the father in this house. What's that? Authority does not declare, authority is. Ukaona chibhachi mapurisa chaisina mabhata anozera isina authority. Unana wakomana kumumba akaita se akachipeka. Achipudza na jamburuti ndakuna anompudza pachingotora nenyembe. Aupabuda. Unoswera watobatwa. You know why? Because authority speaks. But when every day I declare kumba kwenye kuti ndiri baba zokutengwa ndozvakadi ndiri baba unoziva kuti pane chadonha wachibva chimapurisa asina mabhata. So we've got a problem of men who enter this institution and this union, and they forget that this woman that God gave him is your total what? Responsibility. When my marriage was having a challenge, but never not I could an appeal. You see, every marriage you know passage which you know Goromonzi. No, I made the decision because Christine did not bring herself to me. I'm the one who looked for Christine just as much as you looked for your wife. Is there any man here who was approached by wife? He raised her hand. Apana no sumza boza zvite. Nyango akanyamba nemuzima wako nosumza rokuti ndiri pana azvibude because it's against order. But when I realized that my marriage was having an uphill issue, you know what I did? I took Christine out. I remember I took her to Christology. Then I said, Christine, I want us to talk. I want us to find each other again. Where is the problem? And I gave a book and I took my book and I said, write down those issues. It is the responsibility of every man to solve his problems. Ukaona zvanetsa hama dzangu tsvaga even help from another man. Kana uchinyara kuenda nomukadzi wako, go alone. We've got men who think that it is the responsibility of a woman to resolve mental challenges. Do you know that most women mukanetsana, they will not even put an effort to correct the marriage. You can actually go for a man without even sleeping together. Because a woman is designed in such a way. Tashasha mzima zakuya zamsa mfundisi mwengu andaka effort yari andaka effort yakisa mfundisi akaenda upera simba babo mfundisi mzima wangu andaka effort yari yakisa saka mnoza unozuguswa pasi unoona wakuita se wakunita. I've come to help you as a man. Mukadzi akatongomirira asoziya right now the challenge that you are facing in this world. The woman does not know how to solve this problem. Vakadzi esa nwadoro vakataka nwadoro nekuda kwenyu. Anzi mahura anetsa musati mahura anetsa ichita anetsa nekuti mukadzi aite hure kana asina murume. Yeso. Chero vakadzi aite mahure nyauti mimi ndimi market yacho. So God is watching from his throne. Tabasa kumisa tana tudikiso ma 15-year-old. Mwana anezera ni mwana wako ndio kumisa. Wenda naye kuloja. What do you think you are doing? Yeah. And these women have no control. Asozia mukatopunza nyata we don't know what's happening. Makamboona bhazi risina driver akafenda. Bhazi chenda down the slope down hill. Makamboona chembere kumuchaisa tamboona steering ine mudodzo. Unoona chenda icheza unobata toka atife takatarisa. This is what women are doing. Ata atife takatarisa. Nekuti Adam is nowhere to be seen. You are there, but you're not there. Do you know we now have a lot of present but absent fathers? You are there, but you're not. Unaenda kubawa zokusika na 12. Zonta utozinji mwana homekia aitere kaunta hana unikuru kumabhururu is why the moment you get married you must understand that watenda kuti say to be governed. This is where the problem is. The problem is not with Eve, the problem is with Adam. This is why when things went wrong, God came down. He did not look for Eve. He looked for Adam. Adam, where are you? And Adam was busy looking at Eve. Why is God calling me alone? But I'm not alone. We are two. God was saying, Eve is your responsibility. Do you know that a woman is a man's project, not the other way around? God gave you a woman as a project. This is why you chona mkazi we say sango kangona mkazi akashandwa chete wose kuti vanokohwa akawanda. This is why tikasukapana apa tikasukapa munda pana apa pamisindawana. Tongozi right watotora munda uyo wausina kushandira. Watoziva kuti mangwana uchaona ndana nedzimwe timari varimo vachikohwa because iwe hakuna munhu anoona munda wakashandwa kudhara zviti unotoshanda. Mukadzi wese isango. Futhi zambo shi musimaya kwena the problems I'm saying mugara I did ugara futhi. Because I already have enough problems of the problem is you don't know her. Only you stay with her one day. Be careful for what you wish for. Because be careful for what you wish for. Most pictures will throw man how to work on you. There's a friend of mine who came some other day. He's having serious issues with his wife. And he said, you know what, Pastor Jethro? You are a blessed man. He said, why? Because look at you and look at your wife, Christina. These are what you call women. Not what you have. And I said, do you know how much effort I had to put in this? The unfortunate thing is God did not tell Adam that this woman have got work to do.
Yeah, sure.
Because he did not give her Mutemo. And he thought they were the same. Eve never heard God speak. And then that's how the enemy took advantage. And the enemy said, is it true that God said?
Yeah.
She could not stand that argument. You know why? Because she never heard God speak. And you know there's no written record in the Bible when the devil ever spoke to the man. Before the fall and after the fall, the devil avoided the man. The devil was afraid of the man so much because he knew that man was a god. Even today, this is when church all right. The devil is afraid that the moment the man goes back to God, he knows he's in trouble. He would rather continue dealing with Eve. Let me lower my mind. I'd rather continue dealing with Eve. You know why? It's easy to convince him. Samchona pakasika munada ndakamboita incident so imweshasha I told you about the church mweshasha came chibauye pa chibashka be a prophet you know aska be a prophet kumba kwangu be what to prophecy you know women yeah and my wife Christina was excited because of what? Because of prophecy. A prophecy had been given. She was what? She was excited. So he started moving along with the guy. But you know, men are always thinking, God did not call you to be a father without equipping you. Every man is a prophet.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know men can actually foretell problems before it happens? No, when you're growing up, my father used to say, this guy is a prophet. So the prophet in me kicked in. I started to see what this guy was not doing. He was now separating my family from me. Whenever I came, he used to bring goodies for my boys, including my boy who's there. He used to bring goodies for my boys, and he used to bring goodies for Christian, and started saying, no, your husband is a man of God, but he needs help. And Christian started buying it. You must not every marriage has got its issues. Every marriage has got its issues. If your wife was here today, she would say my husband needs help, and it's true. Because I'm not married to paradise, there are issues. And the prophet in me kicked in. They started to realize that this guy is up to no. And this other day he came and said, come and pick me up. I said that I wasn't going to pick him up. And in the vehicle there was commotion. Christine was angry. The boys were angry. You see, if you are going to lead, I want you to know that at times leadership does not mean everyone is going to smile.
Oh yes.
No problem. What I'm kuna matadza kuendesa ana amai avo kuchikoro. We are failure to send ana amai avo kuchikoro. You know why? Because my wife said, "Bamdik John, I take." And go on. Do you know we have cases which are so sad? Zana mai varutadza kushanyira vana vavo vakabereka because mudzimai taura kuti mai vako muroi. Iwe unonzwa kuti mai vako muroi zvareko. Because you were told that your grandmother is a witch. And you believe it. So the prophet in Nikiti, they said, we are not going to pick that man again. And there was noise in the vehicle. Boys were angry. Christina was angry and I said, we are not going there. And the Mutamamuri is so heavy that it's okay. I can actually go for a week like this. You at times you have to be prepared to go for a week.
To change things.
That's the mistake. Sorry. At times a leader needs to be tough. This is what God called you for. You see, even your children now, they have no respect for you because you are good. You are very democratic. Mana mutula nyama iripa muromo zeti makuta maza. John, apana ingwere. Soto kaseka chine iso kamodzi kari kukura. This boy is having problems. Amen. And they are smiling at him. They said we are going on. And he was phoning and I was cutting. I was phoning. I meet him. When the prophet here kicked him. Then after some time it was what? It was okay. Then Chris came to me one day on Facebook. There was the guy on Facebook proposing to him. I said, what did I tell you? This is why when a father is absent, then the family loses its moral compass. I can tell you kuti kuna baba akajiswa nokuti kutaura kukajiswa. When a father is there and a father is standing in his place, get to an institution, you can actually tell with you can tell by the order. Get to a company, get to an institution, you can tell with is there a leader or not. Every leader, not second one words, subordinates, you never get anything done. Ukangona cheti kwa chuzwa. Prefect you knows what you said. Yeah. What's out? Nothing is going to get done. But that's why head boy, John Mapepa. Also, John Mapepa is the right person.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah.
Head boy is Kokeana Dudu. What's that? There's nothing that is going to get done. The problem in homes is the head is normal. And God came down and he said, Adam, where are you? And Adam was busy looking for you. He said, no, I'm looking for you. Where are you? And that's when the problem started. Because Eve ate the fruit and heaven was quiet. But the moment Adam ate, you can say, it's where Eve no, not an issue. Do you know what happened? God created dependence for a reason. Listen to me very carefully. I want you to listen to this very carefully. God created dependence for what? For a reason. You know why children bow down to you? Because they are dependent on what? They are dependent on you. The problem that Europe is having today is children, small children are now getting what? Are now getting money from government. To my allowance and so forth. So see, the moment people lose dependence on someone, then they also lose what? They also lose respect for the system. So God created dependence what? For a reason. This is why it is man who is love. It's only a man who has given love. You'd have never married. If God did not give you the gift of love, you'd have never married. I can actually see your faces. There is no man who's beautiful. If I were to ask you to take off your clothes, would you die of laughter? There's no man who's beautiful. Your wife does not come to you because you're beautiful, because you're not. This is why there's competition amidst ugly. Not Mr. Handsome, there's nothing like that. But wakazi kuna Mrs. what? Beauty. But warume kuna Mr. what? Miss Ugly. Toto kupizana pa kushata. Atenda mazmakuru koto. I'm the ugliest man. And people would want to celebrate. And after that, you know what happens? A very beautiful woman comes to Miss Ugly. If I were to see some of your wives here, do you know if you want to match your wife to the husbands, you can actually get lost. Because most of you are a mismatch actually. Your wife and you is a mismatch. So the question, how did you meet? How did she end up with you? Because most of us are creature give me life, yeah? We have nothing to show off about. And your wife did not love you because you're beautiful. No? Your wife loved you because of love. That's the only thing that God gave us. That is love. He did not give us anything else. He gave us what? Love. So I want you to understand who this creature called a man is. Because if we don't understand these things, we are going to get lost. So God created dependence for a reason. So man is a giver. So man gives love, man gives sperm, man gives what? Everything. Most of you were followed because you promised your wife that you're going to take care of her. That's why she is with you. If you did not promise her that she would never be with you, you were followed because of a job. You were followed because you had a plan. You were followed because you have a vision. You were followed because she's a helper. But what can she help when there is no beauty? Men, most men, you know why the challenge you have with your wives? Because this is nothing to help. There's no vision that is there. You don't even know where you're going. You don't know where you're coming from. So the woman sits there and she says, what is it? What is it to help? Help my Jesus. You see, you know what happens with women? When women sit there and they find nothing to do, they find no way to do, they find no one to help, they are going to look for somebody to help. Yeah. This is why you realize that the women we've got to, your wife has actually got more faith in another man. Yes, so. Munomona peka face mamburume nekuba bumps kuno iripo nepa chest ichi iripo nepa dumbu ichi iripo. You know what? Because anything they've got faith in that man more than you. Because your wife must also be able to put on put on regalia with your face, even your name on your back. When you was Jethro, Christina Ganzilla, T-shirt Ganzi, Chanda Guinea, and those are not ones, Chanda Guinea. No, not to Kazam, because was Tarago. You know what she'll be saying? She's saying, I have every reason to believe in you because I've got something to help you with. But if you've got nothing for her to help you with, is that an amen? So God created this system of dependence where he wanted men to continue giving to his wife. But the enemy knew where the key was. So he knew that the moment the man continues to give to his wife, he's never going to take over. So what does he do? He turn things around and he gives the woman the apple. And he said to the woman, go and give to your man. Achishika, things changed. The man received from the woman, and today the challenge that man is having today is man is still receiving from the woman. Saka mwari akatocreate dependence iyo. Saka muchiona ndisingatendere kuti mukadzi aende pamusoro pechi aende pamusoro pemurume, because the moment yakuenda pamusoro pako hausina nawa chekutaura. Ndotaura ndakatarisa kuti boys hai ndozvanoona kutsamira vana. Ukaona mukadzi aenda pamusoro pako chete. Vano makazoenda waenda americhi chakaitika pakamixwa mazita here, so papaitwa matest bhadzo kamanje pregnancy test, baba bvanzi positive pregnancy test, vaenda kuna mai kanziboshaikwiwe royanenda pamusoro tasemagewatindungurisa vacho. The moment the woman goes above you, you are finished. That's it. That's the law that God created. The law of giving and what? And receiving. So the challenge that you are having is, you are now the receiver. Because God made it in such a way that dependency creates what? Creates obedience. Dependency creates what? It creates that gradient. You continue receiving. This is why children are always receiving from their parents, and they become dependent on them. And this is why it is dangerous to create a system where you are always receiving. Because when you receive, you become a servant to the one who's giving.
Amen. Amen.
Do you know there's no single country, even in America, where Elon Musk said they will never allow him to be more richer than the state of America.
The state of America.
You know why? Because the challenge is don't misquote me. Go I'm Simba, because that dependency is what has been taken away. She is no longer dependent on you. Listen to what happens next. And God said, punishment. He says, when he was giving punishment, he says to the woman, your punishment is that of pain during childbirth, number one. Number two, your husband shall be what? Your Lord. And also your husband shall be your friend. And so is why in a Christian we are friends. This thing is hidden. He said your husband shall what? Shall be your Lord. This one thing was Sarah Abraham. She says, my Lord. Shewe. Then it tells to Abraham, it tells to Adam, he says to Adam, your punishment is that you are going to provide for these people. Men occupy two offices. I was on TV already. So there's this woman, she wanted to put me in a corner. And he said, put it. Now that women can now, they earn, actually a lot of women are now earning more than their husbands. So talk to me about, the headship that you're talking about. Who is the head now? Because most women are the ones who are now taking care of the family. And I said, a man occupies 2 offices. A man occupies the office of the provider and the office of the father. These are the 2 offices that the man occupies. And God said to the man, you shall provide. If you are here and you are failing to provide for your wife, I want to tell you that you are never going to be able to run a family. If your wife has taken over the position of provision, and then utakana say, I don't see what it is. Mambo na mnakata simba. Na sio na mweka ukuta minister pada wachakwa. Ora msaidizi usao tutambane nika. Wane ma bodyguard. Simba pale zani tutaso simba ngopamanya wiso. Ne nguona mwana ngishi asina zalo kuita because wane simba. Amweka upai simba pana. Unopata kubuda kunye pamsakana ati uchatara nonsense. So imagine when somebody who is not supposed to be in a certain position and they are given the power to sit in that office, what's going to happen? Matora Benz, Mukaripa AK-47. Road is running. Go to Mobile, find my policeman. It means Rapi wa put a capella and a quick but a pure. This office of provision, it can be challenged. Some John panics to and go any grocery to challenge office of provision. Manango to kure I challenge office your provision. But when the office is up in winning votero, whether we like it or not, a father is not voted for. A father is divinely appointed by God. But we never chose our father. So men occupy 2 offices. So the first office is office of provision. So office of provision. The office of the father is not going to be easy to enter. But this office is share a door. So in an office of provision, then automatically we'll go for a 1 door to be an office of the father. The office of the father occupies, it carries power and authority. So what the devil does and what he did is he made sure to arima washinja hata kupita office of provision. Zubitika pasirese za muko na to arima washinja hata za kucheketa muri zao. It's a program that is beyond you. Yes. It's a program that is orchestrated from the pits of hell. So that men fails to occupy the office of provision. Mambo na muri bata za kucheketa muri yake mwone kupusa kwani kakaita manana. Because I'm going to I need tricks to do that. That's not cannot happen. It is so said today. This system is promoting women to get into the office of provision.
Yeah, sure.
And that winter for masters, a higher qualification. Just go for an interview. You know what? It's a system that is making sure that men become regarded. You know when most men have become drunkards, Takatu government is Barkuru Wanich Akari into drug abuse, most men have become substance abusers. Most men have become drunkards. You know why? Because so I'm planning to take care of my family. So that is stress. No if you are many are here, pota uchita my relationship in Yamaso, pota uchidu phone mako, mumpebu no zimisha mari, zotuka perwa ni ATM, unoshamanda chetu ni ATM, $2 million yapinda. Unosheka na wani ufonera, unipaka pesa ngukutu wano kana $1.
Yeah.
Each man that to go, and that to Shama, and that to this rock and to Dora Kumbago Gunenzara, Chingwa. You are not going to is why. The problem is when man was in the garden, he was dependent on himself. But the day God chased him out of the garden, anakuziya kuti now you need other men for you to survive.
Oh yes.
You can't survive alone. Chindini nechimpimpindo chichashanda manje out there. You need other men to be able to survive. You need connections. Now, this is why we are connecting as great couples right across the globe, so that we empower men. They are now drowning themselves in alcohol. Dambuzikorana ndiri kuti mubrain dzake arikuwasira mwana uyo achapedza here chikoro. Mubrain dzake arikuwa kuti mwedzi wakunopera, what am I going to do? Haana, because the system is closing men out. This program is a program that is coming from hell to make sure that men fails to occupy the office of provision. This way time yangu yafamba. This way boss azopinda question and answer time. I want you to listen to me. So the enemy made sure kuti dora ataka kuvhara ndere kutanga. Munasaka nda kuvhara vanhu kunze kuti vasatye party. Tange kuvhara kugedhi, musavharire mbali. Tange kuvhara kugedhi. Nokuvhara kugedhi hakuna achapinda mupari. Vanodza vari panze vangodaidzana nemazita vagoridza meterwa, but kana gedhi sina kuvhurwa rakakiwa hamupindi. Endo nasa majuro akaenda sei akakura kudai hamudongoriri. So the enemy makes sure that I'm pin them party. What is he doing? I make sure that the door you pin them off provision. Kana kuna stress in murume. This is why men are dying early. This is why men are dying young. I'm saying men kumakuwa moni shasha. Zikuita si zikwenda pana digi. Take 5 years back. Zaro paskutinga. Samgeta heavy. Blood vessel ya best aba. Bani kuita si young men knows how to brain machine knows capacity to gym. Brain talok. Unaweza unorara mchezi uchigaya kusikazatwa kuti amatinyanyira. Abane kuchamufunga matinyanyira. Kumukadzi kuti asi ende mwana wako kubvunza zvinhu zvidikidika kati tete bukuroswa pa asi unopota kuti bharara mapichi utinoti nyachiko yako endaka imunhu ane nyaya dzake dzanadzo. Skanzi tete upfu wapera skanzi asi mutobika sadza nepati wadungotinga upfu wakaita sei wakanyara, but the problem is hauna. This is why you are doing that. Imakagara pari makantarisa dambudziko redu vazhinji nderekuti hatina. This is why we are stressed out. But mukushaya kwedu manje tashaya wisdom yekuziva kuti katabuda mugarden we need other men. The more friends we have, the more chances of making it.
Amen.
But hatina.
Amen.
And tendency kuti unotsvaga noti watodadira mambona munhu achisvika nemini kupapanana nemabhasikoro nikupe kudhara tosvika chidza makiso usatambi kandakupinda mini kupai gumi wa20 ndakupinda 110 bana iwe vanofa munhu ani mabhasikoro ungara kuti saka muchinja sei bati unouraya sina mota munonetsa. But ukazobva paya kuenda kuna ne mabhenzi hautombidi nini kupaya kunoisa unotaura nhanda mota bosi haite kuratidza pana vamwe bosi kwakuenda kune vamwe vari nani. So tine tendency sekutsvaga vanhu vanenge vatoziva kutodherera masekozi endavanhu ati bosi vari mane problems handiri kudadirwa. Do you know there are people asika kuenda kumba kwomwe munhu bosi afanira kudadirwa. And the problem here nakadzi it's men who have got that problem. They do not want to visit somebody else's house because they think that this person wants to show off. Men have a problem. This is why on Instagram and on some people have actually left Instagram, some have left Facebook and status. You know why? Because in people, men like each other.
Big time.
There's a guy, you know, this is us. So he was in Glenview, and there was construction somewhere that was happening, and there was a pile of river sand there. So this guy took an umbrella, and he put a towel, nice towel, and he put on a swimming trunk, and he put on some shades, and he hit like that one, and he took a water glass and put some juice there and a lemon there, and a straw, and he was saying, and he was lying there with his water glass.
Usane kunzi good boy, how's a good boy? Yeah, amen. Corona is a good boy. How's a good boy? You have a responsibility and you're answerable to your authority. I just put that my kind of saying we have to stop this nonsense. Vanadika ndakaona chibuda paWhatsApp hapana angari mutauni so adiki so achidzidzirika vaitamba chakwanya motikadzana hapana ma grade 1 nema grade 2 nema grade 3 ndikati where is the father ari kuzibaba mwana anopinda mutauni ane 7 years akutaura ndiani baba mwana because anodonha pakudeka this is a father somewhere tatapudzika nevana vari kubva maoko umwe munhu vasikana vana vadiki so vari kuita zvimwe zvekuti unonyara kuti vari kubva kunana baba ini mauniversity da kutotyisa izvozvizvi maurese ndokuvari kunotora vana vari kumauniversity. You know why? Because the father is somewhere and the father is doing nothing about the situation. Sisi takakura isusu kwekuti baba aitaura takati 5 o'clock hapana nonoka 5 iwe umwe nomwe aiziva zvekuita baba kunenge uri kwauri unongoziva kuti takumhanya hapafambwe bhozi unokuata sechi wata satani mudharaita akataura so ndorimemba mudharaita akasiya so tatachakubva kupinda mugrindel time iyoyo unoziva zvainyadzisa so kuti monike muchirima so mudhara kwakusvika manje akuti kumberi kwese kumapaina ngari kusvika nze ndinoti abhiskuita kuti sechibaki unozva kuti kuprimary unozva ndakaziva kunyara zvisingaiti but mudhara anga ataura dzaingosvika so dzadzi red mass dzaingosvika zopinda bedroom zoti wakomana makomba 1 meter by 1 meter umwe nomwe uchera chini aketu mukona zvaitika ndi mwana mbiri imhonika anoziva kuti mhoni yapereka unoramba uchiwechera 1 meter by 1 meter zapedza zakuita sei unonzwa kuwenga mudhara so teiti tako manje tapedza kubura miti yedu takuchera tona mabhebha ari kupfura totsvaga miti yekuti asi yekuhwanda naiso kuti aumana tingaonekwa unoziva pano vakazoona vakanotaura kuchikoro unoshakana peku bantu baba vachaiziva tikakura tiri street TV yenzi hakuna anona TV after 7 hamupati TV patona mwana na 1 katorimo zvakarikona mako titanoenda kunorarasha mwana kuti baby when you're done watching switch off the TV tienda kunorara mwana achipedza bvaenda pachannel dziadzadzana kurudzi makona nyaya tikaita kuti yemufana akaura 16 year old akaura cousin yake musikana after ona porn vare pa cousin sa cousin vaita idano mangara vaura cousin vaita dismember dambura hamuna kuona nyaya hamuna kuona mwana na baba but baba akakotsera pabasa. I don't agree to the fact that men come to me and they tell me that Baba, I'm having issues with my wife. No, you are the problem. I don't agree when men come to me and they tell me that Baba, I'm having problems with my children. You are the problem. Because you are supposed to set rules in your house. You are supposed it's okay. Because you're going to stand before God and say, this is what I did. Yes. I did my best.
Yes.
Don't go to Baba kana zanonoka mama wangu ane fan belt. Vaika fan belt. No why my dress. Those vairanga nazo. You know? Mudhara kana zanetsa ngokugwesa neboots baba unogowa zvishwa. Akuti unozwa pana pandarowa. Papa ichi Ronaldo cha endo nogowa. Kuroone kudzuma makoso uzopana pandaitwa mushi but nozati kakura tiri straight.
Yeah.
But today you are being told kuti mwana arowe mimi You talk to your 2-year-old, you talk to your 4-year-old. Talk to them, they'll understand. Talk to your 6-year-old. But look at the West. What have they achieved? What have they achieved? We've got children who don't even care. I was in Germany and I realized that I was seen about 11-year-old and I was going for you. I can't run my trainer. I was some kiri and I can't some kumpa. But I marry mommy was the system is sustaining. Coffee old and open dream, my red, let's go to Chipinda Tapana, Chipinda to Chibuda. And I'll commend it. You say nothing. But there are men out there. And they fell. This is why women have taken off. This is why Eve is running ahead. And the man is not behind. But today, we can make a choice. Before I open the platform, I want whoever is here, I want to end this. My life has to change. And going forward, I want my children to be different. I want them to be vagwevana vakarongeka vagwevana vari different vana vanotya Mwari chaperevedzwa pasi pezuva vana vakarongeka vanotya Mwari. But you can make that decision today and right now. So before I sit down and before I open this platform to others to come in, tobvunza namvunzo. Not kana report out inini ndinoda kuti upenyu wangu uchinje. Just raise your hand wherever you are. I'm going to pray for you. If this, I know I've spoken to a lot of people, I know that. I want everyone who is sitting, and I want my life to change. I'm playing a line here. I want Christ to take over. Enough is enough. I'm not going to pass down a wrong man. I'm not going to pass down wrong things. So I want you to stand up to your feet. Whoever has made that decision, I want you to stand up to your feet. Oh my God. Yakuitika panapa manje, this has to do with Jesus Christ. There's nothing to do with man. There's nothing to do with me. This is you now going